Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Now I'm back with another Mistfall Hunter video, and today, August the 12th, 2026, we have seen the balance patch update. These are the patch notes, so we're going to go through them. I'm going to give you a TLDR of them and then show you some of the changes. Now, alongside the balance patch, and there's also been bug fixes and server fixes, there's also been a new event that has been added. Unfortunately, I've been playing for a couple of hours this morning and I haven't been able to see the event. It hasn't triggered since the times that I've been playing, so I can't really give you my thoughts and opinions on that. But basically, it's called the Soul Harvest, and whilst it's active, we have a chance to trigger this gameplay mechanic during matches, and it's in Hallowgrove and Brandergard. And once it triggers, there's going to be soul incubators, which are going to be carrying soul cocoons. They're going to randomly spawn along the map, with a fate altar as well. So you need to obviously get these items and take them to the said fate altar, and then you'll get whatever we can get from that. But until I get to play it myself, unfortunately, like I said, I can't really comment. So let's get into the balance side. Now, here we go here. Black Arrow, guys. They've increased the cooldown. It says of the Mystic Fly Arrow. That's basically the Blood Fly Arrow. It's obviously just translation. Then they've also increased the cooldown of Steel Arrow, and they've slightly increased the cooldown of the Dodge Power Shot, and they've greatly reduced the cooldown of the Sonic Arrow. And alongside of that, they have reduced the PvP damage multiplier in solo mode, but the PvE damage stays the same. Now, I will have to say, there is one thing that I don't like about these patch notes. We never seem to get the actual, like, full details. Like things like this where it says, you know, greatly increased or slightly decreased. I need numbers, guys. I would like to know exactly by how much is it being decreased. Is it, you know, 5%, 10%, things like that. So if any of the devs do, you know, watch this video, I would love it if you could go into a little bit more detail in the patch notes, just to try and help us understand so we know exactly where we're at. Obviously, I know we can try and work it out ourselves, but it would just be very helpful because you guys know exactly how much you know, whether you've nerfed it by something or if you've buffed it by a certain percentage. But anyway, so I'm not too sure because the cooldown, the increase of the cooldown for the Bloodfly Arrow is quite significant, guys. So yeah, I don't know how Black Arrow mains feel about that, but I feel like it's quite a big nerf for that class. But then anyway, we've got two fixes that they've done there. But for the Sorcerer, now I play Elemental Sorcerer, as you guys know. We've been nerfed basically. So again, it says they slightly reduced the Fire Elemental reaction damage from the Elemental Arcana talent. How much is slightly? I don't know. Again, they've slightly reduced the damage of Firebolt while adjusting its damage distribution to increase direct damage, but it's reduced the dots. Again, for the energy recovery, they've slightly increased the energy recovery of Firebolt when we cast that without full channeling. And then they've also adjusted the damage distribution of the Flame Blade to increase the direct damage once again, but then they've reduced the dot damage. So it feels like the idea of this patch is they're trying to make dots not as strong as they were, because dots are not, I can admit this, the dot damage was pretty brutal. So this is where they're going with this. But they've increased the cooldown of the Crystal Ice Bolt. They've reduced the impact which was caused by Deep Freeze. The knockback still stays the same though. They've increased the energy recovery granted by Survival Instinct talent. Again, the word slightly is used so much here. They've slightly increased the lightning activation speed of Thunderstrike, and then they've increased the energy recovery of Thunderstrike when you've cast it without full channeling. They've optimized Thunderstrike because basically it wasn't very clear of the exact location, so now it should be a lot more clearer. And then same thing as BA, they've reduced our PvP damage in solo mode, but kept the PvE damage the same. And then they've just fixed another bug basically. But I'm going to say this. I'm a little bit confused, right? Because the devs were saying that they based this game predominantly on the trio mode. That's where most of their balance and ideas, and that's where they want the game to mostly be focused on. So saying that, but then all they've done in this patch is kind of just nerfed the solo side, because they haven't touched the Stardust Sork. So, and that is dominating in trios. So I'm a little bit confused on that one. It's very, very strong in trios, and yet it's had no nerfs, no direct nerfs. Yes, they've obviously reduced the sorcerer's PvP damage overall, but that is, it says in the solo mode. So I need some sort of explanation here. I'm a bit confused, guys. What do you think? Leave me a comment down below. And then when it comes to Shadow Strix, they have kind of nerfed it, but not really. They've slightly reduced the super armor duration of spinning slash. They've slightly increased the interaction speed for sleight of hand. They've increased the cooldown of the teleportation, phantom shift. It says greatly reduced the physical piercing granted by the battle frenzy talent. And then they've reduced the cooldown of the inspiring impale. Again, slightly increased the duration of the wound accumulation talent. And then they've reduced the number of stacks required to trigger the detonation to 8. Slightly increased the damage bonus percentage of the after effect talent. Now, I've been fighting a lot of Shadow Strix today, and I mean, I'm still getting... I've beaten some, but when they hit me, and they hit me really hard still. So yeah, I don't know, guys. This balance patch for me has been a little bit confusing. I don't care about my class being nerfed. You can nerf the elemental sort. That's fine by me. I did agree. I've never said it wasn't very strong. It's definitely very strong. And to be fair, it's not like it's been nerfed. It's not like drastic though. We still can pump out some damage. But yeah, I don't know. For the Withered Knight, they basically fixed stuff, which is kind of a nerf, because the things that they have fixed, it basically made the class a lot better. So even though it's not a nerf, it's kind of like an indirect nerf. For Seer, they just fixed a bug. And then for tactical items, they've increased the inventory stack of the eye from 1 to 2. And then you can see here, damage over time. So damage over time in general, they've slightly reduced the frequency of damage ticks. But apparently the total damage remains unchanged. So yeah, I don't know. And then there are some other like bug fixes and server fixes and stuff like that. They of course say that this isn't the only balance they're going to do. They'll keep checking the meta, they'll keep looking, and so on and so forth. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think on that? What I will show you though, I'll go to the I'll show you the difference between the sorcerer's damage here, the training grounds. Let's have a look here. So the dot damage, it used to tick for like 5, and now you can see it's ticking for 3. So it's gone down, not by a lot, obviously. It's gone down by 2 per tick. Again, just to see, every tick is, well, there's a bit extra there. But yeah, so it has gone down. Now the Flame Blade, they did say they increased the true damage for this one. Let's see. And it's ticking for 6. Okay. I need to, let me start him from scratch so we can see the actual, so when he respawns. Right, let's have a look. I mean, it's definitely less, but it's not, again, like I said, it's not drastic. It still does a big chunk of damage, guys. So I'm not too, it's more balanced, put it that way. It's just more balanced. And then they said they reduced the impact. Okay. So yeah, I'm as an elemental main, I'm still pretty happy with that. I agree that it needed to be nerfed. The damage was obviously in, especially in solos, it was very, very strong. So I'm not angry at that at all. I'm just a little bit confused on the that they've left Stardust. They haven't touched Stardust, so I'm a bit confused on that one. I'm a bit confused with the Shadow Strix as well. And I think BA, maybe BA, I mean, I'm saying this as a sorcerer, and a good BA could absolutely destroy me before. But I think the BA was nerfed a little bit too much. The cooldown is pretty significant now. But hey, we'll have to see as more days go on and more people play. Maybe someone will find a really good a BA build that will still pump out serious damage. Who knows? But anyway, what do you guys and girls think? Leave me a comment down below. What do you think of this balance patch? And have you had a chance to play the event yet? If you have, let me know how good is it, or what do you think? Anyway, have a beautiful day, take care, and I'll see you very, very soon. Peace.